It's been a while since I've covered the Lionesses on this channel, but 2025 has to be the year where they're going to get a lot more coverage. Not only are the Lionesses going into the summer as defending champions at the European Championships in Switzerland, but before that, England are playing 6 games in the UEFA Nations League against very strong opposition, and it's going to set up their year ahead. It's going to give us a good indication in terms of where the Lionesses are at the minute. It's going to give us a good indication as to whether the Lionesses can actually go to Switzerland and defend their title. And overall, it's 6 really exciting games to come between February and June this year. So like I said, I feel like these games are really going to set the tone because England and the Lionesses have been in a very unusual place, should we say, over the last few years. They're definitely not the absolute dominant force they were threatening to be when they last won the Euros. It seemed like England was starting to take that step up above the rest, a bit like the USA, perhaps even Germany. But since then, and this has been reflected in the Women's World Cup, where obviously England did reach the final, but ultimately the women's game, the gap between the so-called big teams and the lower teams now has become much smaller, and it is now a much more competitive international scene, much to the benefit of the women's game. It makes it so much more exciting, and that means that this UEFA Nations League group is going to be much more exciting, and rightly so. This is League A. England should be in a tough group and should have tough opposition, but looking at these teams here in regards to Spain, Portugal, Belgium, it's pretty tough. It's very, very tough in terms of a Nations League group and a warm-up for the Euros. England start against Portugal and Spain in February, then a double header, only 4 days difference I think between them, against Belgium in April, and then they finish this campaign in May/June with Portugal at home and Spain away. Obviously, England versus Spain is a repeat of the World Cup final, and it will be the first time England will have played Spain since that final. England interestingly played Belgium in the last UEFA Nations League campaign, where they beat them at home, but the last game they played against them all the way back in 31st of October 2023, England actually lost that night 3-2. Portugal, though, compared to Belgium and Spain, are a little bit more of an unknown to England because we haven't played them in a competitive game in quite a number of years, actually. And actually, the last game we played against them was a 1-0 win all the way back in October 2019. So that's going to be a very interesting game, and it's very difficult to predict how England are going to perform against Portugal, and indeed across the whole group, because like I said, women's football is so much more competitive. If you're taking a look at the FIFA World Rankings, England are currently 4th, behind Germany, Spain and the US. I'll be honest with you, I think Spain are the best team in the world at the minute in the women's game, comfortably, and arguably the men's actually, but I think the Spanish women are comfortably the best women's team in the world. And I know I've mentioned the World Cup final, but if we're all being honest, England fans, Spain were comfortable winners. It was only 1-0 on the night, but England never really looked like being in the game, did they? Spain, with the ball, are just so much more accomplished than any other women's team out there. So that means I don't expect England to win this group. I really don't. What I want to see, though, is performances and that consistency of performance. You feel like Sarina is still trying to weigh up this evolving, ever-changing England team, and you go back to the Euros when England obviously won it previously, and the key to that tournament, if you remember, was that Sarina didn't change the starting 11 throughout the whole tournament. I just can't see Sarina and this England Lionesses team being in that situation moving forward at the minute. There's issues at the back, there's issues up front. I don't think Sarina knows her best starting 11, and I think England have struggled for consistency over the past few years, where they have picked up some poor results. What I want to take from this campaign, and what I think Sarina will be looking at, is yes, we want to win it. Of course, it's great to top the Nations League and have a chance of winning another trophy. But I think for England now, it's about establishing a starting 11 and sticking with it and getting some sort of performances in. Obviously, England's last 2 games back in late November, early December was a 1-0 win against Switzerland and a 0-0 draw against the US. So that draw and those 2 clean sheets will be a positive for Sarina moving into this calendar year. And I think, honestly, that is going to be key for this England team. It was getting a little bit like it was under Gareth Southgate towards the end of his reign, and it's that lack of consistency. You're unsure what sort of performances are going to be put out there. You feel like on the day, England, like the men, can beat absolutely anybody, but then at the same time, it wouldn't surprise you if a real shock happened. And it's that sort of habit that the Lionesses need to get out of, certainly if they're going to have any hope of retaining their European title. And like I said at the start of this video, it will set the theme for the rest of this year. If England go into this campaign and really struggle to pick up results, particularly if we're struggling to keep clean sheets, I think it sets it up for the Euros and England to have a very disappointing one. I think this could be used as a confidence booster going into those European tournaments, because I think England need a bit of confidence back. I really do believe that. And ultimately, England's number one prize this calendar year is to retain the European title. And I see this as a real good opportunity for the Lionesses to start to claim the top spot in Europe. Let me know what you think. I mean, are the Lionesses going to retain the title, and what are they going to do in this Nations League? Like I said, I think Spain will top this group. I think England, though, should be finishing second. In regards to the European campaign, that kicks off, of course, in July. England have been drawn against France, the Netherlands, and Wales in another very challenging group. But what a year this could potentially be for the Lionesses, and ultimately, this is why we all love sport. These big moments, these big games, these big nights, bringing on the Lionesses, some tough challenges ahead. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Plenty more Lionesses content coming this year. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on my next video.